So now, as the second part of our SJPO tutorials, we're going to go through kinematics. So in part one, we'll just be going through the fundamentals of kinematics before going into non-linear motion. So let's go through some examples. I'll leave a link to the notes in the description below. So I'll just be going through the examples and how you get to the answer. So let's go through the second example, distance versus displacement. From point A, the car traveled 300 meters towards the east of point B. It then traveled 400 meters north to point C. Calculate the total distance it traveled and the final displacement. So total distance traveled is basically the entire length it has traveled and not the shortest distance between A and C. So we need to account for the distance of AB and BC, which is 300 meters and 400 meters respectively. So you can get 700 meters. And then for the final displacement, we're actually measuring the shortest distance between point A and point C, the starting point and the end point. So what we're going to do is to just use Pythagoras theorem, because we know this is a right angle triangle since it traveled east and then it traveled north. And then what we can do to find the angle over here is to use DOA, where CB is the top and the adjacent is AB. So we just substitute in order to get the angle of 53.1 degrees. So now I'll just be going through the fundamentals of speed versus velocity. Average speed is always the total distance traveled over the total time taken, which means that even if you stop and the time is still running, we still need to account for the time where the vehicle stopped, for example. And then average velocity is defined as the total displacement over the total time taken, which means that we're actually measuring the shortest distance between the starting point and the end point. Instantaneous in this case means the rate of change of distance at that particular point in time. So imagine we have a graph like this of a distance over time. To find the instantaneous speed, we just need to find the gradient at that point in the graph, and we don't account for other points in the graph. So at just that point in the graph, we need to find the gradient. So let's go through the next example, example 4. So to determine the average speed, what we're going to do is to calculate the total time first, which is 4.0 seconds, and then the total distance traveled. So we can see here that we can totally see that over here that it went 3.0 meters, it went and then it traveled 3.0 meters in the other direction. So to visualize, imagine this is a car. It traveled 3 meters here, and then it traveled 3 meters back, traveled 3 meters in the opposite direction. So which means that in total it traveled 3 times 1, 2, and 3 to get 9 meters. So we just divided by 4, which is the total time taken, to get 2.25 meters per second. To find the average velocity, however, we need to know the final displacement versus the initial displacement. So we know the end displacement is actually negative 3.0 in the end, because that's the end displacement, and then it started at 0. So what we have to do is to minus the final displacement and subtract it by the initial displacement, divided by the total time to get negative 0.7 meters per second. And then to find the instantaneous velocity at that point in time, 3 5 seconds, what we have to do is to calculate the gradient at this point. And since this is a straight line, what we can do is to, from secondary school, we know that to find the gradient, it's y2 minus y1, x2 minus x1. So we know y2 to be negative 3.0, y1 to be 3.0, x2 to be 4.0, and then x1 to be 3.0. So we just substitute these values in order to get the gradient of negative 6.0 meters per second in the negative direction. And then the instantaneous speed is just the absolute value of the instantaneous velocity, because it doesn't matter what direction it is, which is the same as the instantaneous velocity, which is 6.0 meter per second. Okay, now before we head over to the next example, I do want to show you guys this page 23, where you can find all the formulas for kinematics. So yeah, do take note of these equations. And now, without further ado, let's go through one example and also apply this formula. Okay, now at this graph, how can we determine the velocity of the vehicle at t equals to 1.0 seconds? We can use this formula over here, v equals to u plus ad, where u is the initial velocity, so we just add 0 as the initial velocity because it was initially 0 at first, and then we add it to acceleration times. Now, how we calculate the acceleration in a velocity time graph is that with a gradient, we find the gradient of this straight line graph. And using the formula from before, we can then be able to find the acceleration. And we also know the time, so we just substitute in order to get our result of 5.0 meters per second. And then next, we can find the displacement of the vehicle in the first 7 seconds. So what we have to do is to find the area of this trapezium, and then also minus it off by the area of this triangle. Because from 0 to 6 seconds, you get the vehicle is actually traveling in the positive direction. Then later on, it travels in the negative directions, returns to a starting point. So therefore, we want to find the area of the trapezium, and then we minus it off later with the triangle in order to get 53 meters per second. So next, how do we find the average speed? To find the average speed, what we have to do is to find the total distance traveled, not the total displacement. So what we have to do is to just find the area of the entire graph. We just add the graphs together, and we do not subtract because we only want the distance, not the displacement. And we divide it by the total time taken to get 8.8 meters per second. And then we find the velocity from 5.0 to 12.0 seconds is we add this small triangle 5.0 to 6.0, and then we subtract it by 6.0 to 12.0. Okay, let me make it a bit clearer for you guys. So yeah, we just find this area and subtract it by this triangle in order to get the total displacement, and divide it by the total time taken, which is 7 seconds, in order to get our average velocity. Yeah. So now let's go through this other example, example 7. You can pause the video if you want to read the question. So how do we find the average speed for the whole journey? From average speed, yeah, we already went through this total distance divided by the total time taken. And we know it's 400 meters and the time 60 seconds. So we just divide to get around 6.7 meters per second. And then to find the average velocity from A to B, we want the total displacement, which is the distance between A to B in a straight line. So we account for 100 meters, therefore 31.8 meters instead, since this is the shortest distance between 2 points. And then we divide by the total time taken, which is a quarter of 60 seconds, because 100 meters, that like how he ran, is a quarter of the distance he ran. So it should take a quarter of the time taken, 15. And then divide it in order to get 2.1 meters per second. And then to find the average velocity from A to C, what we can do is find the total displacement from A to C. And we can notice is a right angle triangle again. So all we need to do is to find the hypotenuse using the Pythagoras theorem in order to find the displacement as 105 meters. And then we divide it by the total time taken in order to get 3.5 meters per second. And then the angle is just the same thing. Yeah. And then to find the average velocity, since the athlete actually returned back to the same place as he did before, and it's no displacement, so the displacement is 0. Divided by the total time 60 seconds, we get 0 meters per second squared. So now we can go through the final example for today. Now this example is actually quite more common in SJPO, like you see similar question types like this. So yeah, do pay attention. You can pause the video to see the question if you want. So first question. Yeah, the ball stone is projected vertically upwards with a velocity of 10 meters. Find the time taken to reach the maximum height. Now, using one of the formulas that I showed you just now, we always want to take note of formulas where the variables are actually known. So using this formula, V equals to U plus AT, since we know that when it reaches the maximum height, the stone will have a velocity of 0. So we know V. We know that U is also 10 meters per second square, and we know that the acceleration is negative 9.81, since the stone is actually decelerating due to gravity when it's projected vertically upwards. So we just substitute these values, and we should be able to get T as 1.02 seconds. Next, to find the maximum height reached, we can also apply this formula, V squared equals to U squared plus 2AS. We are not able to use S equals to UT plus over AT squared because we don't know what T is. So take note of to use formulas where you know what the variables actually are. And same thing again, we know that the final velocity is 0, the initial velocity is 10, and the acceleration is 9.81 seconds. So we just substitute in order to get a 5.10 meters in the end. And then next, how do we calculate the time taken for the stone to reach the ground, which is 20 meters below the edge of the cliff? What we can do is to apply, since you want to find the time taken, we have to use this formula. We know that the total displacement is negative 20 because we took the outward direction to be positive, and since C is under A, we take it to be the negative direction. We know what S, U, and A is, so we just substitute in order to get to find T using the quadratic equation. And it can't be this because time cannot be negative here. And then Next, how do we find the speed before hitting the ground? We can use this formula, or we can also use this formula. Since we also know what t is, doesn't really matter. We just substitute in order to get v equals to exactly 2.5.